Thank you for joining me today. In this video, we're going to be covering a small segment of what are known as irregular plural nouns. Just very briefly, let me go ahead and scooch back to make room. Hopefully you can see on screen, but very briefly, irregular nouns are nouns which are not regular. Ir is the prefix you attach to the word regular to create irregular, which tells you it is not regular. And when I say not regular, what I'm actually referring to is not regular in the sense that these particular nouns don't follow the same spelling rules you would traditionally follow with other nouns when producing plural variations on those nouns. So like an example would be for boy, which would be singular, that's just a regular noun, as you would say. And to make it plural, I would just add s to the end of it, so boys, right? What about cat, for example? It's just a regular noun. And to make a cat plural, I would add s, so cats. Or, you know, if someone were to make a batch of cookies, that's one batch. And then if they were to make more than one, it would be batches. So in this case, I would add es to the end of it for the ch ending. But anyway, there's other examples, but for now, we're going to go ahead and just focus on the irregular plural nouns, which means, again, they're not going to follow the standard conventions of attaching an s or an es to produce a plural variation on those nouns. Instead, looking first at the f and fe ending nouns, they will need to follow a specific rule in order to produce a plural version of these words. Okay, again, nouns ending in f or fe, in order to make a plural, you'll need to actually drop either the f or the fe, depending on the spelling, and replace it with ves. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of examples. So for knife, K-N-I-F-E, you've got the fe ending. Now if I have more than one knife, I have knives. And so in order to write this, or in order to show the plural version of this word, I would need to drop the fe ending altogether and replace it with ves. Another example would be wife. In some cultures, it's okay to have one wife. In other cultures, a husband may have more than one wife, which would be wives. So again, you're dropping the fe in this case, replacing it with ves. Let's see, we've got half. So I ate half of the cookie, or I cut the cookie into two halves, right? Two halves make a whole. So by cutting it into a half, I now have two halves. Let's see, we have loaf. So I have a loaf of bread. Or if I bake more than one, I'll have plural, or a plurality, of bread. In this case, I would have several loaves of bread. Another one would be a calf, which is a baby cow. Sometimes a cow will produce more than, sometimes there may be more than one calf in on a farm. And in that case, you would have calves. And then, of course, you have life. Life is precious. There are multiple lives to be concerned about, right? So we're referring to life, but in the plural it would be lives, so ves. Okay, so just to reiterate, irregular nouns, or irregular plural nouns in this case, require an entirely different type of spelling, or a rule rather, depending on the ending of those nouns. And in some instances, the noun itself may change its spelling altogether, but that will come in a later video. So just know that irregular plural nouns are nouns which, when you want to make them into a plural, do not follow the regular spelling patterns as other nouns traditionally would, in which case you would add an s or an es depending on the ending. Okay, I hope that helped, and I'll be sure to include a link to slides capturing some of the notes and the examples given in the video description below. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to subscribe so that you're kept up to date on all the new content I'm producing related to English language development. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.